Hey, I'm calling to order the school committee meeting of June 3rd, 2019. It is 6 o'clock. This meeting is being both audio and videotaped. Is anyone else audio or videotaping this meeting? Seeing and hearing none, could we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, I'll start to my right this time without Jake Brady being here.
Kathy Saletti, Recording Secretary.
Pamela Blair, Assistant Superintendent for Business.
Elizabeth Marcian Boucher.
Gordon Smith, Superintendent of Schools.
Rich Fitzgerald.
Gregory Thompson.
Sarah Trulio.
Bill Fonseca.
And before we get into the approval of minutes, we have a wonderful recognition today from Laurie Paul, Food Service Director. Mr. Smith.
So we have Mrs. Paul here. I'm going to invite her up. And she was recently named by the School Nutrition Association Food Services Director or Director of the Year.
All right.
I want to
Nice.
recognize her.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I so appreciate it. I thank you, Pam, for nominating me, and I'm very honored.
And for royalty, we have a little tiara.
Oh, and because I knew that was coming, I brought my scepter, the sword. Thank you. Yes, I'm very honored. Thank you.
So I know that the Food Services Association or School Nutrition Association will give you an award as well, but we wanted to make sure that we had a certificate of recognition.
Oh, thank
because
you.
you do fantastic work.
Thank
And we
you. I love what I do.
really
so
appreciate all your efforts.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wonderful way to start a meeting. Okay, approval of minutes, 2.1, approval of the May 6th, 2019 executive session meeting minutes. Do I have a motion, please?
Move to approve the May 6, 2019 executive session meeting minutes.
I have a motion. Do I have a second, please?
A second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Opposed? We are unanimous. 2.2, approval of the May 6, 2019 regular session meeting minutes. Do I have a motion, please?
Move to approve the May 6th, 2019 regular session meeting minutes.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
We are unanimous again, Ms. Coletti. Moving along to committee and subcommittee communications. Ms. Marcian Boucher, lead us off.
Well, the 125th birthday committee had their summer kickoff. I think they feel it was a good start for the first time that they've ever had a summer kickoff. It was really the rec department that was pushing it. So they had a movie, they had some carnival games, some food vendors, so I guess it was a nice day. So.
I think they're running a mini golf tournament.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes,
the
mini
last
golf
day of
is
school,
coming
last
up,
day of school,
next
right,
week.
for the
You're right,
students.
you're right. Yeah.
So that's a
And
flyer.
that is, I think it's a 2-day thing where you can go in the last day of school, and I believe you can also go in that Saturday too. You just kind of come and go as a family, and each of the kids will get a little trophy if they participate, so.
And from what I hear, administrators might get a little trophy too.
They might indeed,
never know.
yes,
Depends on how well we play.
exactly.
Mr. Thompson.
Just a great day for graduation last week. Want to commend the student speakers and the staff for putting together a nice evening, and also commend the two folks next to me at the table here for their speeches as well. So all went well.
And the fact that he got the band to play at the conclusion of his speech was really good.
I think
You must know somebody, right?
I confused people at first because they weren't playing immediately.
Yes.
So people didn't know whether to clap or...
Keep guessing.
The band came through though.
Keep them guessing.
Ms. Trulio.
I had the opportunity to visit Meadowbrook School for their second grade chorus event, which was really well done. It's the first time they actually separated out the second grade event from the larger event that typically took place at the high school.
High school, right.
So it was nice to have the second graders be able to be recognized and not keep the little ones in the auditorium for quite so long.
Yeah.
So it was a really nice event. Meadowbrook also put on International Night, which was really well attended, not only by Meadowbrook students, but there was a variety of older students from both Maple Shade and Mountain View in particular who attended that evening. And both those were really nicely done events with administrators present, members of the school committee were present, as well as a lot of educators came back and were in attendance those nights.
Thank you, Mr. Fonseca.
Yep, Wednesday, June 12th at 6 o'clock, there'll be a public hearing for the open space plan that Gordon and I have been working on for the last year. We're required to have a public hearing. It will be at 6 o'clock, like I said, Wednesday, June 12th, Council on Aging Auditorium. And I'm also planning a Division 5 meeting for Wednesday, June 19th, up at the Collaborative for Educational Services in Northampton. The topic will be the 2020 census and the importance of making sure everybody gets counted.
Thank you. I'll just add a couple. I attended the Maple Shade Convention. Once again, always exciting and well done. And lacrosse is winning 6-0 in their first playoff game as we speak. I think tennis is tomorrow and baseball sometime this week. So those are all our playoff teams. With that, opportunity for visitors to address the committee. Is there anyone in that large crowd that wants to address the committee? I don't see any. Moving along to presentations, Mr. Smith, take us to 5.1.1, notice to intent, lowest bidder for the Meadowbrook Accelerated Repair Roof Project.
Okay, so just to give you a quick update, so this is the Meadowbrook Accelerated Repair Roof Project. We're doing it through the MSBA Accelerated Repair Program. The bids, originally we were looking for the bids to come in and open them on May 30th, which would have been last Thursday. However, as of May 22nd, we had only received subcontractor bids for plumbing and electrical. We received no subcontractor bids for HVAC. So that forced our owner project manager, Pink & Company, to amend the bid documents and say that your lead contractors will now have to incorporate HVAC into their bid proposal. So with that, we extended the bid opening from May 30th to now June 6th. What the notice of intent, should the school committee approve that this evening, is a recommendation from the Pink & Company owner project manager. Margaret Wood is the lead on this project. And she recommended that the school committee possibly vote to provide a notice of intent. It would be somewhere around June 6th or June 7th, where they've already opened the bids. They've vetted them as they did the subcontractors. They gave all our subcontractors grades throughout and obviously come up with who is the low bidder and who has met all the criteria. And then if you have a low bidder who has met the criteria, even though we technically will not be able to award the contract until June 17th, the next school committee meeting, if a vote this evening allows us to give a memo to that contractor indicating that we intend, and the language would be something similar to this. This is a notice of intent for the Meadowbrook Elementary School partial roof replacement. The town of East Long Meadow intends to execute a contract for the Meadowbrook roofing project with your company based on your bid submitted on June 6, 2019. The school committee's official vote to confirm this commitment will take place on June 17th. And the contract will be executed no later than, and we can put June 18th or 19th in there, given that the vote to award the contract is on the 17th. Now, that's entirely up to the school committee. That's just a recommendation, so it allows the lowest bidder who gets recommended by Pink & Company to all of you as the contractor to whom we should award the contract. It just gives them the opportunity to start looking at ordering materials, to start to assess the job and get people. The other thing that we would need to start doing is getting an idea of how big a crew they're going to bring in and make sure that we start the quarries and the fingerprinting and give them directions on that. It just gives them a week's sort of advance, if you
But
will.
given the tight timeline we might be facing, you know, if the weather pattern doesn't change, you're dealing with all of those elements that we have to consider. We want to get this done as close to when the kids come back as possible.
Right, the hope is that they're actually into demolition that week of the 17th.
Yeah.
You know, what they have to disconnect all the different units that are up on the roof, and then they would start taking that membrane off, and they would start bringing in materials for the new roof.
Now, it's not only lowest bidder, but they have to meet the requirements.
They have to meet the other requirements as
The
well.
bid requirements,
Right,
right.
correct.
Okay, good point, Greg.
So I move that we issue a notice of intent memo to the lowest bidder who meets the bid requirements for the Meadowbrook Accelerated Repair Roof Project. On or before June 7th, do we want to say that or no?
Yeah, I think we can do, I would say on or after June 6th, because they have to have, obviously, the bids in, and they have to be reviewed, or June 7th. We wouldn't want to do it before.
Okay, I'll strike the date then. I'll just leave it as that, Kathy.
Okay.
Thank you.
Motion made, do I have a second?
Second.
Second, any further discussion?
I'm just gonna abstain because my husband works for Pink and it's not like a regular thing that we're doing with it, so I'm just gonna.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, so all those in favor, please say yes.
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 And
Abstain.
abstain, so it's 4-0-1, Kathy.
Okay, thank you.
Good motion, right.
So I will draft the memo for, I guess, the chair signature,
Sure.
June 7th, okay.
Okay, moving along. Mr. Smith again, 5.1.2, self-evaluation for summer review. We all have a
So,
copy?
in your packet, you probably don't have my highlights and notes on it, but you have an item that looks like this. It's just a continuation of more or less a self-evaluation, giving you an idea of the work that has been accomplished within the different goals that have been set. I'll try not to read every piece of it because that might put you all to sleep. But just to highlight a couple things, I think the biggest achievement that we had this year is that we were able to look at our goals very differently, and we were able to articulate in the action plan how we're really going to focus on the whole child. I think that sometimes in education that can become a buzzword, and that we need to even take what we've articulated this year and define, I think, relatively well and do a better job next year so that we're getting everyone to understand and how. And you'll hear this on the 17th as we present sort of the end of the year presentation for the district. A lot of what we need to continue to focus on is getting all of our staff and really the school community to understand that social emotional education and learning is not an add-on. It's got to be integrated into what you do in your content area. And so we have to look at how we're using our professional development to continue to get that message across and well understood by all our staff members. So with that said, just a couple highlights that are somewhat new from the mid-cycle. We did get our diversity and equity committee up and running. The group met 6 times. In between those 6 times, we had an agenda-setting subcommittee that was also meeting. And the biggest accomplishment that we were able to achieve this year was that the committee was vetting outside agencies to help us with this work, to possibly conduct an equity audit. And most importantly, I think our full committee felt to help us continue to gain the skills to do this work well. And so ultimately, we vetted 4 different vendors, and we think we're going to utilize the assistance of the Center for Leadership and Educational Equity, and they'll begin to work with us next year. So I think that was a pretty big accomplishment, given that it was 21 individuals that really didn't know each other when we started meeting in January, and now we seem to have a pretty good connection and momentum. One of the things that we hope is going to continue to boost us into next year is our partnership with Bay Path University continues to expand. We did utilize a number of their graduate level counseling students in our buildings, and we're hoping to expand that. And we're excited that they're looking at offering an adjustment counseling program. And so as that partnership expands, I think support for ELPS will expand, because we also invite their students and faculty, for that matter, to our professional development opportunities. One more quick highlight. One of the things that we were able to achieve through not only the EL Youth Safety Committee, but also our work with Springfield Health and Human Services, was we were able to administer the Preventative Needs Survey for the first time. It's a nationally normed survey, and we were able to have our 8th, 10th, and 12th graders take it. So now we're going through those results, seeing how our students match up against the norm. And we have a chance with some of the grant money to have at least 10 of the questions cross-tabbed so that you can start to break out specific groups. You know, how do our female students feel about this? How do our male students feel about this? And break that out a little bit. And I think we're going to specifically look at some of the safety elements. You know, are you feeling safe? And then see if we can cross-tab those questions to get an idea of where we might be not making as big an impact. Moving to the second page, one of the things to help us in our work will be our continued work with District Management Group. They'll be coming in to help us look at our year, June 25th, and see what we feel we've accomplished and where we can start to build on that. Flipping to page 3, just to walk you through that. And something I probably should have said at the beginning, I'm always open to sitting down with any of you individually to review any and all of this. I just figured I'd present a few highlights. In that goal around improving relationship with town departments, one of the probably best visual achievements is that if you look at our district webpage now, under community, and I believe teachers and parents, we now have an additional link which handles all the youth safety committee resources and breaks out based on grade level and what group you might be coming from. Are you a parent? Are you a middle schooler? Are you a high schooler? And that was a partnership between ELPS and the Health Inspector's Office this year, and so we were able to launch that, obviously also with IT helping us. Another highlight, actually going down a little bit, is we had a new resource officer this year, and so we're partnering obviously with the East Long Meadow Police Department. Officer Healy did an exceptional job this year, and we'll continue to work with Chief DeLessio and Officer Healy this summer to see how we can continue to revamp and sort of tweak that program. But Officer Healy did an incredible job being out and about and at all our schools, which I think is really important. Just a couple more highlights, and it was, I sent out the video back in March, but one of the highlights in terms of sort of being able to share with a wider audience what the great things that are going on in ELPS is when all 7 districts were on the Mass Appeal Show. And ironically, I was thinking, okay, we might have a number of technology presentations, but ELPS was the only one. And so I was able to bring 11th grader Sean Callahan with me, and we explained our robotics program while also explaining some of the STEM and STEAM initiatives we have going on throughout the district. Something that I don't believe I've highlighted, but will highlight now, is DESE had contracted an independent researcher to look at gifted and talented education across the Commonwealth. That individual has been contacting superintendents and districts. I was able to meet with her and discuss certain things over the phone, and then we invited her to come see our Push-In program, which for people who may not know, not anybody at this table, but our audience, so many people are watching us on video, we start our Gifted and Talented program by pushing in, starting in kindergarten, and basically enriching the curriculum that the classroom teacher is presenting on a daily basis. And a lot of what we do is around sort of design thinking and problem solving. And this researcher, Dana Ansel is her name, came in and she got to see that in action. Actually, it was a 5th grade push-in lesson around the Invention Convention. And so that's going to be highlighted in her report. as she presents that to DESE later on this summer. So we'll be one of 4 districts highlighted in that research report.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah. So that was exciting. So thank you to David Axelrod for allowing us into his classroom, and Mr. Fredette for sitting down with us for about a half hour to go through all of this. Flipping a few more pages in, let's see what page we're on here, 6 of 11. Just continuing in terms of, this is management and operation. Some of the things we're talking about over the last few meetings is that we've negotiated 2 successor contracts for our custodians and our secretaries, and we've also negotiated successfully, I believe, 6 individual contracts with administrators. Kathy, am I correct on that?
About that.
About 6. And one of the things that we're starting to do at the town level, which I think is working quite well, is we're using Google Team Drives. And so we're doing that especially in our emergency planning. So that allows anyone who's involved in the town emergency planning to see the documents that we're starting to produce. I'm going to pick up speed because I see Mr. Mackey's now seated, and that's telling me that. Community and family engagement. One of the things I probably should have said at the beginning, if you go to the shared folder, I've updated the evidence in there, and so I put a number of events in there just to give you an idea of, but many of you see me at the events because you're there as well. So I'll move to professional culture, and one of the highlights here, there are others in each of these categories, but these are just some of the highlights. I think our work, specifically the work and combined work that I do and she does on her own, our Director of Curriculum, Heather Brown, has been exceptional this year. And she ran 2 professional development days for our department heads around leadership, collaboration, communication, and how that works in planning for your department. And they were phenomenal. The last one was last week, and they're not only well attended, which somewhat is unusual to get almost every department head. That's why it was done over 2 days. But I think we got close to every department head attending, and gave it high reviews. So that was nice to see. I think she's done an exceptional job. And really, everything I do is connected to what our principals and our staff are doing. So none of this happening just on my own. It'd be great if it could happen that way, but that's not the case. It takes a village to get all this accomplished.
How was the book Data Wise? Sounds a little dry.
Yeah, I would say it had its dry moments.
I
Yeah.
don't need to think about that. I'm in the market for a good book.
Yeah.
Remember my recommendation,
looking.
big potential. I'd like to use that next year.
Okay.
Big potential. Excellent.
Yeah, I've heard that.
I think the conversations off data-wise
Sure.
were better, and that's where we started to include our coaches at the leadership team meeting, which was really great.
So if I could ask the members of the school committee to email me any comments that you have, could I say by, let me see, let's say by Sunday, is that okay?
This Sunday?
This Sunday, yeah? No.
We've got till the 7th. You know, what do you need? What, you want them this Sunday?
Yeah, that's a week, and then we'll give you a chance to write it up for
Okay.
the packet.
What would you like in terms of template? Do you want a template that you can add to? Do you want a blank template in the shared folder? What makes sense?
Just Slade and I will work it out. Mrs. Smith.
So we'll email you comments.
She'll take good care of you, right? That's the thing
So
about
you
it.
just want our comments?
Yes.
Okay.
Then I'll take them all in, and I'll sit down with
All right.
Kathy through it all.
And again, if people have questions, because I know this is a lot,
Yeah, it is. It's impressive, Mrs. Smith. It really is.
so certainly feel free to contact me or sit down with me and
Okay.
discuss it.
Now for the exciting part of our meeting, always.
Ready?
Our Assistants for Superintendent for Business Report. How about 5.2.1, our third quarter fiscal report? Take it away, Ms. Blair.
Okay, so in your packet, you'll all see that you have your third quarter financial report, which is dated, of course, March 31st. I apologize, this is a little behind schedule. I had some surgery, so things got bumped So here we are, so I just want to remind everyone as we are going through. If you turn to page 4, which is where all the numbers are, you'll know that you'll see that the top section are your salary accounts. Most of them have very healthy balances. Again, this is as of March 31st. On the third line down, you will notice that the medical staff line has a negative $9,523. Those are due to additional IEP services that were not budgeted. Things come up. This will be covered at year end by either circuit breaker funds or other special education operating funds as I start closing things out. The other, things that are not encumbered, leave of absences, athletic payments, that, those are reasons why we have balances there.
Is that why they're balancing teachers? Could leave of
Correct,
absences?
yes, exactly.
I know you encumber.
Right, I tried to do a quick tally, there's about 6 leave of absences. Of course, they could be some longer than others for different reasons, but they definitely play a role there. Then it could be resignations, there's a myriad of reasons why that happens.
We're going to require fund transfers for instructional coaches and custodial overtime?
I don't think you're going to need them for, the instructional coaches. Wait a minute, let me get to that line. And I was thinking next
It's under
time just to,
substitutes.
thank you.
They're both in the red.
Yes, so now remember, this was as of March 31st, so things have changed, I'm sure, a lot to today. So yes, I will be analyzing this and bringing them forward for transfers to be
We're
done
going to have to do that by...
soon.
Yeah.
You got to do it before June 30th.
That's
Yeah,
correct.
so we have to set a
Yeah,
date.
so I'll be working on that in the next week.
Finance subcommittee would have to make that, and then the next school committee meeting, they would vote it into.
Well, so then we should do it before the 17th?
You don't necessarily have to do it before the 17th, as long as you vote it in at your very next meeting. That's what the policy says. You
That's
don't-
policy, but the finance subcommittee has authority to move it.
Right.
Because we have
That's
to do
correct.
that by June
Yeah,
30th.
you have to have a
Yes.
finance
Yeah, right.
subcommittee meeting before the 30th to make the transfers.
There has been times in the past where the finance subcommittee's approved it and it hasn't hit the regular agenda until August.
Right.
As long as the
Yeah.
thing
As long
is-
as
You
it's
have
just
to, you have to have the
disclosure.
finance.
Right,
sub-
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely right. Yeah.
So, on the bottom section, you'll see your expense accounts. And, let me see, the 4th and 5th line.
Right.
Next time coming around the 4th quarter, I am gonna put, numbers over on the side so I can tell you, like, go to number 4, and so we'll make that better. But if you go to the 4th and 5th line, you'll see that those are also deficits. The out-of-district tuition is negative $14,243. The tuition to collaboratives is negative $7,590. So again, those are analyzed, and depending on what happens here with circuit breaker. And now what I also would like to just bring to everyone's attention, especially on the expense side, is we have encumbrances there through the purchase order process, and they do their best guesstimate at the beginning of the year, and things change. Sometimes you need more, sometimes you need less. So there could also, at this point, purchase orders could have been closed out, so these funds could already be back in as a positive balance. So on the 4th quarter.
How does it get back in as positive balance?
Because if they encumber $100,000 for X tuition,
Yep.
and then it only came in at $75,000, the
Oh.
reality is someone left or things happened, so now
So we
that purchase order
anticipate an
closed.
encumber
That's correct.
early
and I'm-
on,
That's
beginning of
correct.
the year.
Yes, so I work with all of the departments. It's not like this
I
is
see.
all in my control. I then, especially at this time of year, I'm very, very busy working with all of the principals, the secretaries, special education, and trying to close out those open purchase orders. So the picture you see here is not probably the reality of right today, but this is the snapshot as of March 31st. Any questions on the expense? Okay, then if we go over to page 5, that is your grants and your revolving accounts. The top section is your grants, which are pretty straightforward, as you can see. You have your FY19 grant amounts there in the first column. I did make a note there that Title I was increased by $918, and the Title IIA grant was increased by $446.
From anticipated.
That's correct, yes. So it's a total of $1,364 that was increased, so you'll see the numbers change there from any prior reports. The next column shows you your year-to-date expended and your encumbered, and what was remaining, and a reminder, this is again as of March 31st. So all of the grants are looking good. I always work with the person in charge of the grant to make sure that we're expending these funds down, and I do my monthly drawdowns of the grants. So any questions on any of the grants? The bottom section are your revolving accounts. Again, pretty straightforward. We roll over, the revolving accounts are rolled into the next year, so you'll see the FY18 carry forward amount, which is the same as what was, at the beginning of the fiscal year. Then your receipts that have come into date as of that March 31st, and your expended and encumbered, and that leaves you your current balance there. You will notice the athletic revolving is a negative $6,509. There were deposits that are not posted to the general ledger, meaning deposits were made, they were brought over to the treasurer's office. It takes a while for them to actually hit our books, so there's always that gray area.
But
Those
as
are
of
gate
March,
receipts, is that what deposits for athletics?
Yeah,
Those-
the
no,
gate
those are
receipts
gate-
are
Is
user
that
fees.
stadium?
it'd be
It's not
gate
the
receipts.
stadium.
Where does gate receipts go in athletic?
Into that.
level?
Correct,
And what was the
yes.
other one?
User fee.
User fees.
The user
But
fees.
those should all be in already, those. they're-
Right, but now
No,
remember,
as of
this
March
report is
31st.
as of March 31st. So again, in the fourth quarter, you'll see things, change with that. The other one that is in the negative is the circuit breaker account, which is negative $62,171. And remember, this is March 31st. Our third quarter actually ends then, but the third quarter payment came in on April 2nd. And that was I'm sorry, I thought I put it on there, $198,000.
Oh.
Or at least on my copy, it wasn't there. $198,000. We also have the fourth quarter payment coming in for circuit breaker, which is again the 198,000 plus. There's usually a little bit more. There was an additional payment that you will see on the fourth quarter, just to give you a heads up, that Dr. Welch had, she always puts in for her extraordinary relief, which is over and above what the typical circuit breaker is, and we did receive about $52,000 in those funds, which is really helpful, just to let you know.
And that'll be in the 396 or no? I mean, then the 2198?
No,
it's
it'll be an
additional?
addition.
Is our balance gonna end up about the same that we carried forward last year?
It could. There's so many things I have to look at at this time of year that it's a little difficult for me to throw out a number to you. I would
Fair.
say it would be somewhere around there,
Yep.
could even be a little more.
Okay.
It depends on how all of this, if I
And we
need
won't
to
get the
use.
fourth quarter circuit
Fourth
breaker
quarter.
until,
It always comes like right after, it'll probably come on July.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I always bring it to everyone's attention. And it's reported correctly in the end of year report.
What expenses are we paying for out of the athletic stadium rental?
so athletic stadium rental, more or less, is just going back to the maintenance of the stadium itself. So anything that we would do in terms of bleacher repair, anything we've done in terms of track patching and field patching. And the hope, and I think you've heard me say this before, that account right now is up to about $36,000. Our hope is that we'll have enough in that account to resurface the track.
How much is resurface the track, remember?
I don't offhand.
Because I'm worried that we're not making progress, we're less than we were last year carried forward
True, but we do have rentals coming up
for
this summer.
the fourth quarter.
And remember, this is as of March 31st. There very well could be deposits that have gone in there that aren't
Okay.
showing yet. So,
I think you're going to see more rentals in the summer because, if the rec department's using it, that's not a rental. All we
Right.
do is cover custodial costs.
Yep.
So it would be more the soccer teams that rent it. I think there's a men's soccer league that is looking to rent it, and there's a passing league that is also looking to rent it this summer.
I just think that when it becomes time to replace that
Right.
track, we're gonna need to have substantial funds in there because we've been talking this way for
A few years.
8 to
Yep.
10 years that we've had that already, so.
We'll get a cost on that.
Yeah, because I think it's gonna be a whole lot more than what we've got.
It's more than $36,000, that's for sure.
are there any other questions on the
School lunch,
Yep.
were there capital investment, capital projects paid for out of that 689?
I'm
Did
sorry.
we buy things with that 689 for the
We
kitchens?
did, we started
The
to
stuff
buy
we
some
talked about?
things.
Is there still more things to buy?
There are more things to buy, and I'd like to remind everyone that, Lori does need to, and I'm sorry, I was gonna invite her up, but I think she's scooted out, we do need about $240,000 to be sitting in that account to have, to be considered, healthy according to, DESI. So when you look at that, that's not a whole lot that's left there, to run such a large
Are the
program.
salaries already encumbered for the year? In the school lunch program?
Our salaries encumbered, no.
They're hourly.
They come out of that? though?
Correct, yes.
Self-funding, right?
It's a self-funding
Self-funding
program.
So they're not out, so there's still salary to be
That's
covered out of that
correct,
number as
yes.
well.
Correct.
But there's also still receipts for the fourth quarter.
Yep,
Right.
that's
'Cause this is
correct,
for
and again,
March
this is as of
31st.
March 31st,
I
that's
beat you to
right.
it.
Thank you.
I knew it was coming. That's good.
So, lastly, I just would like to remind everyone that it is imperative to remember that the balances provided are a snapshot in time and are always changing constantly. Thank you.
Thank you.
Motion to accept the third quarter fiscal report from our Assistant Superintendent for Business.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Opposed? We are unanimous. Let's go through these in a very efficient way. Usually, like Mr. Thompson, we
I
kind of
move
go
to
through these.
accept the check donation from Ohio Pile Prints for East Long Meadow High School.
For $3.38.
Yeah, I'm
That's more money to
sorry.
process
Yeah.
this than
I
there.
know.
I have that motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Second, discussion. All those in favor, please say yes.
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 Opposed? We are unanimous, Mr. Lady, go.
I move that we accept the Mountain View gift donation from Yanni Family Orthodontics.
Have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion.
Discussion, this is for, in recognition of Mr.
Yes.
Guay. A student put his name forward as an outstanding teacher.
That's right.
That's
Which is wonderful.
Yeah.
So the funds are to be used in Mr. Guay's room.
Okay.
Okay.
All those in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Opposed? We're unanimous. We're now looking at the next one, 52.4, Birchland Park gift donation from a parent.
Go ahead, Sarah, you're on the roll.
I had a question about it.
I move to approve the Birchland Park gift donation from a parent.
I will second it.
Seconded, discussion?
So is this connected back to the student who
It
came?
is.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
So I think my question then is, if we move forward with air conditioning, like what kind of cost is that
So,
gonna bring on to the school
that's a
department in
good
terms
question.
of
Right.
electricity and maintenance and?
So we're
all those
working with
buckets?
DPW to analyze that.
Okay.
Generally on the second floor, depending on individual health plans and IEPs, we have, say, 4 or 5 of these window units, but they're not always in the same rooms.
Right.
You move them according to schedules and plans. So we have to look at everything you just said. So we're going to be working with Joe Dunn, who's the facilities manager, and the middle school custodial staff to see, is there electrical work that we need to do to make sure that every room can handle this? Can we go with one? The 600 is somewhat precise because we're thinking that we're going to stay with one type of air conditioner, which seems to work and has been fitted to at least the rooms so far that have received it.
And in the event we can't sustain that, in terms of like, that was a very well thought out plan by the young man and his family, but just thinking about what is our communication plan with that family in the event that we accept this donation, but then somehow
Right.
something on our end.
If not, we could always reimburse them.
Just to
Yep.
make sure
I
that
guess
we're.
the other thing is that, because.
I think these are funds that were raised.
I
Yeah.
believe that's why they
Yeah.
came
Yeah.
before and
Correct.
GoFundMe
Right.
and.
They're gonna anticipate that their child will be in the classroom with the air
I think
conditioners? You
the
can't
original,
determine that.
right, the
Yeah.
original goal was to look at the second
The whole,
floor.
the
Yeah.
entirety of it.
And so on the second floor, you already have a few air-conditioned spaces with rooftop units. You have the media center, you have a technology room, and then you have an old technology room that now is their second makerspace. All of those have air conditioning, and they're spaces that we can utilize during the few weeks at the end of the year and beginning of the year that we might have high heat. But we're not necessarily looking to run air conditioners for the month of September, nor for the month of June when you have weather, say, as the weather we had today. But I think this is in reaction to the fact that we started the school year and had 3 days in the middle 90s.
Yeah.
And so we're putting a plan together. We're not looking to purchase 25 air conditioners. We're probably looking to purchase somewhere in the neighborhood of 5 to 7.
Okay.
Well, kudos to them either way.
No, absolutely, that was a wonderful idea.
That was a great idea.
Yeah, and they've clearly executed what they set out to accomplish.
Right.
Just thinking ahead, like if this is something that we start to set up as a precedent,
Right.
then
Yep.
Yep.
how are we gonna sustain that over time in terms of
Be challenging to
electricity
sustain
and-
it at the high school.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
because you don't have the electrical system to handle that. Birchland happens to be, you know, our newest school, so.
Any more discussion? All those in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
We're unanimous. 5.2.5, Mountain View gift donation from Stop and Shop Rewards Program.
We move that we approve the Mountain View gift donation from Stop and Shop A+ Rewards Program in the amount of $280.33.
Have a motion, have a second?
I'll second.
Second, discussion. All those in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Anybody
Yes.
opposed? We are unanimous, great. Old business, 6.1, our 2020 budget update. Well, I guess we can say what town council approved.
Town council approved our budget, and with that, the entire town's budget. Ultimately, I think it's something to celebrate, because it's not only meeting us with our level services, which brings back programming and staff, but it's also moving us forward in that they did fund one of the 2 social emotional educators that we had requested. So we are moving forward and hoping to continue to put a program in place that eventually will span K to 12.
And we also got the 1-to-1.
Yes, sorry. On the capital side, originally there was $200,000 put aside for the 1-to-1 programming. However, our estimate was closer to $315,000 for investment next year to make that 1-to-1 program happen. By moving some of the projects off by a year, we were able to have the town increase that $200,000 to $300,000. It also gave them an opportunity to do a capital project, which is going to help pave roadways, which obviously is very important. We tend to use those roadways with our busing. So I think it was somewhat of a win-win for the town and the schools. So now we have a good deal of work to do this summer to make sure that we get the 1-to-1 program off on a good
Yes, that's
foot.
gonna be our #1 priority,
Yeah.
#1.
Yep.
Good.
And just so folks know, the kids are not bringing these home. They're staying within the schools, but they can use them.
Elementary students will not be bringing them home. We're looking to hopefully, with middle and high school students, once we're going to follow the same model that we use with our community action learning.
Yep.
So we do have some policy and procedure in place,
Okay.
granted for a much smaller group,
Yeah.
roughly 50 students who have been utilizing Chromebooks for 1-to-1 already, last 2-3 years. We're going to now scale that to the secondary level and make sure that we're ready and have a plan for distribution of the machines and sign off, and that we can handle our self-insurance program.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else? Okay, moving right along. New business, 7.1, the Hampden County Sheriff's Department request for portable repeaters on the ELHS press box on July 3rd. We've had this, I think, almost
Yeah.
every year.
Right. This is additional help for East Long Meadow Police during the celebration of
It's
July
temporary,
3rd and
yeah.
July 4th, correct?
This is temporary. A motion, please.
Move to approve the Hampden County Sheriff's Department request for portable repeaters on the ELHS press box on July 3rd.
Have a motion, have a second.
I'll second.
Any discussion, please? All those in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Opposed? Unanimous. 7.2, MIAA Girls Across Tournament for June 10th, June 14th, 2019. You got a memo from Kevin McGee on this about hosting.
So, similar to the last few years, the MIA has asked us to host some of the playoff games. It looks like we are in line right now for 2 girls lacrosse playoff games. And as Mr. Futero had mentioned earlier, our own lacrosse team is in the playoffs tonight, playing out on our turf. They got a home game and hopefully are winning still, and we'll have another game. What the MIA is asking is that we do not charge them for the rental fee, but they will cover all costs. So that would cover all referee costs, all ticket taker costs, all supervisory costs. And then what we do is we stock the concessions or host the concessions with our booster clubs. So it's a boost to the booster clubs.
Which booster club would do that?
Generally it'd be the lacrosse, it matches the sport, yeah.
The girls lacrosse or both lacrosse?
I think it would be both, but
Yeah, it was the-
I think it's a combined booster.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
I could be wrong on that, no? Okay. So then
Maybe
if
it
it's,
is.
if it's a girls' game, then it would be girls' boosters.
Okay. Move that we approve the use of the stadium for MIA Girls Lacrosse Tournament June 10th and June 14th, 2019, with the rental fee waived.
Have a motion, to have a second?
Second?
Discussion?
Right, we want to waive that, Gordon?
Yes,
Right, we-
yeah, that's what they're asking you to
Yeah,
do.
yeah.
Okay, all those in favor say yes.
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 But I am opposed, so 4-1. Birchland Park Middle School handbook revisions for the school year 2019-2020. Mr. Allen is not here, I wish you
No.
were here.
I apologize, Mr. Allen could not be here tonight. If you do not know, they put their handbook into their agenda books that they give out to the students. So we've given you some paper copy of what that looks like, but it's in all the students' agenda books. He's recommending a couple changes, or a few changes, 3. First one is, since they're going to be moving into, at least for math, the standards-based reporting, they had to figure out how they would make that work with their high honors and honor roll recognition. And so if you remember back at that presentation, there was a number system on the scale of the report card. Copy here. Looked something like this, where on the side, they had a scale of numbers. And so he's recommending that 3, which means that the targeted content has been achieved, be part of that recognition for high honors, and for honors, where it says A and B in all subjects, and at least 2.5 in all math standards. The 2.5 is in addition to 2.0 performance partial success at 3.0 content, indicating that they're starting to go beyond the base content and move up. So that was the first change. The second change is on page 2, actually. So what this is he's looking to, for 6th graders, and this is somewhat common with middle school. Right now, 6th, 7th, and 8th, when they go to lunch, they pretty much just stay in the cafeteria. What we've noticed over time is that our 6th graders often are finished much earlier than the lunch period is finished. And we're looking to see if we can develop at least the opportunity for those 5 to 10 minutes where they would exit outside and in the good weather be able to be outside.
It's really worth it for 10 minutes, I don't know,
I think it's just to recharge them.
Recharge 'em?
Yeah, they need it.
Burn it off.
Get some
Yeah.
fresh air.
10 minutes, yeah?
What about the other 2 grades? If they see this
I think they're
happening?
gonna pilot right now with 6th and see how they
All right.
handle it, because 6th graders also are coming in used to having
Well, no, I understand.
recess.
I understand
attached
that
to lunch.
dynamic, but I'm looking at it from the other side, saying, well, if we eat fast, do we get the same privilege?
Right.
I'll tell you, the school I'm in right now,
At the
they
moment,
just,
the answer would be no.
Yeah, I know.
they just threw some poor middle schoolers into it, and they get, the 6th, 7th, and the 8th graders, they get like 15 minutes recess every day, and they're like happy campers coming in from it. I mean, you know,
Right.
all things considered.
Who's
but-
monitoring it?
So he's gonna have to rework his duty roster for lunch, and he's gonna have to start having people be ready to monitor and supervise outside.
Where would this take place outside?
It's most likely going to be towards their own fields, but he is discussing with Mr. Fredette about the possibility of utilizing the field at Maple Shade.
Because you got to get them back in. If you're
Correct.
giving this,
So they have
this
to
is a
think
short
about-
window.
Right. 10 minutes is not a long time.
No, because you got to get
By
them
the time they
there.
walk outside, they're
Right.
coming back in.
Plus when there's snow on the ground,
Well, no, it says weather permitting.
Yeah.
well,
So I think the discretion would be, once,
they cleared the walkway around, they could even just go for a walk around though.
They do, I mean, that's part of
You know.
DPW's regular routine.
Yeah.
It's after they clear roads and parking lots and so forth, then they go hit walkways,
Yeah.
so that, because that's one of our access routes between
Right.
the schools.
Okay.
see what happens.
So that's the second of 3 changes. And then the fourth change is, or excuse me, the third change is just looking at how they label their media center, really on internal documents. It's not a name change or naming for an individual. They're looking to, on, say, like school maps, or they say, the Makerspace Challenge is being held this Friday afternoon in the Multicultural Media and Innovation Center. And as you see, part of the reason is that the Media Center now not only houses our library books, but it also houses computers, and it houses one of the 2 makerspaces over at Birchland.
Why did they pick the wording multicultural?
It also, the new librarian has established a multicultural club that
She
meets
has,
there.
okay.
Yep. So this is coming as a result, most likely, from that club,
Okay.
asking if we can, and they're starting
like her.
to.
I think she's sort of cool.
She's really cool.
Yeah.
They're starting to have many more resources than we used to have in circulation around diversity and inclusion and multicultural elements.
So that's what he really wants to call it, though? When people come to the building, he's gonna send them to
In
the
internal
Multicultural Media
documents.
and Innovation Center?
Yeah.
So to sum up, we have three changes. One is the folder, the math standards-based grading. The second is the recess for 6th grade. The third is the title change to Multicultural Media and Innovation Center.
So is it implied that the library is the Multicultural Media and Innovation Center based on the location of the title and over the, because the rest of the paragraphs refer to it as a library?
Yeah, no.
Right, they're gonna have to revise the rest of the.
Oh, they
paragraph. Yeah.
And are they gonna then, not to jump around, but then also noticing when they talk about report card at the bottom, they're only referencing the letter grading. They're not referencing
Yeah, they're
the
gonna have to,
standards-based
they're gonna have to
report
make
card.
further revisions than they've made here in order to,
So they're gonna come
Have
back
the-
to
Yeah, they probably
next
should.
week, the week
They
after?
should have made it
Right.
before they brought it to
He
us,
can.
possibly.
we can
I
have.
don't know, I
if
mean,
you wanted
they
to see
wanted
those
to be right
revisions.
before the.
Yeah, I think,
Well, when's the print?
He doesn't have to have it printed until late June, so
And I
he
don't,
can come back, well, he'll be here on the 17th.
And then- Yeah, I'm just wondering too, to go back to the math piece,
Mhm.
all math standards typically aren't taught at one time.
Correct.
So when the language in the award system is saying on all math standards, do they have a plan on the report card to gray out areas that are not going to be taught
They
at
do,
that
if
time?
if they haven't taught that standard, they have not assessed this term on the report card.
So then,
Yeah, so to
maybe
make it
that
chance-
should also be
should
specific,
be also
because if
included
it's
in
saying
there.
at least a 3.0 on all math
Mhm.
standards, maybe just that language of that are currently
Taught
being
currently
taught
in
or
that-
currently
in
being
that.
assessed or graded.
Right.
Because then that could lead to some confusion around what qualifies for honors.
Good point.
Right.
Okay. I will ask for the paragraphs to be revised, and Dr. Allen will be here on the 17th, so he'll be able to address those.
So do we want to vote on the second and third?
Or do you want to
revisions?
table it until you see?
I would
I would
table it
table
until
it.
I see the whole document.
yeah,
Okay.
There's not a time issue though, right?
No, as long as he has, it'd be very similar to our code of conduct. We have to get our code of conduct out in early July to have it back to us in August. So it's the same type of thing.
so we've got one more meeting before they gotta worry about it, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll table it to the 17th.
Okay.
Okay. 7.4, Unit D, Secretary's Contract, 2019-2022.
Move to approve the Unit D Secretary's Contract 2019 through 2022 as presented.
I have a motion, I have a second.
Second?
Second, discussion. Okay, roll call vote, Mr. Fonseca,
Yes.
Ms. Trulio,
Yes.
Mr. Thompson.
Yes.
Ms. Marcy Boucher.
Abstain?
Mr. Fitzgerald, no. So it's 3-1-1.
All right.
Yeah.
LCAT volunteer recognition, Mr. Mackey as
Mr. Mackey.
always.
But I've never volunteered.
I miss Jake Brady, but we'll have a new student rep next year, right?
We will.
Okay, just reminded that June 6th at 3 o'clock is a staff
Yep.
recognition in the high school auditorium. That's usually a very nice time.
June 4th, elections tomorrow.
Tomorrow,
Yeah.
elections.
Big day. Go see Mr. Fitzgerald.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He'll be busy.
Anything else?
No.
Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
No.
Wow.
Sorry.
Second. Somebody second.
Second.
Discussion, all those in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Opposed, we are adjourned. Thank you, Ms. Saletti.
Is it wrong?